Hey there, welcome back to the Hemp Show. My name is Eric Herlock. This is our special Global Fiber Hemp Summit box set, sides 3 and 4. In just a sec, I'll drop the needle on side 3 and we'll hear my interviews with Glen Kayll, Joseph Carringer, Eric Henry, Andrew Bish, Coleman, Beale, and David Camby. And then I'll flip the record and we'll hear side 4. We'll hear from Dave Cook, Satish Hodage, Patrick Atagi, Ding Hongliang, Trey Riddle, and maybe a surprise or two. Today's show is made possible with support from Hemi, the Hemp Education and Marketing Initiative. Find out what hemp can do for your business at hempinitiatives.org. All right, here we go. Side 3.
I'm Glen Kayll, and I'm the CEO of the Hemp Plastic Company. What we do is we take micronized hemp and we blend it with different thermoplastics. The idea is to try to make a easy to switch to sustainable solution that moves the needle for companies when they're trying to achieve their sustainability objectives. We do it in volume at a reasonable price. We're scalable. We've moved over 2 million pounds of polymer since our inception, and we're making a big difference in the market.
Now, I imagine some hemp purists or environmental purists might be freaked out that you're blending hemp with petroleum, but explain to me why that's necessary to build this industry.
Well, look, we're trying to make an impact. We're trying to make a difference in the sustainable materials market and in the plastics market. The fact is, plastic is an amazing material. And if you look at what plastic has replaced, it has replaced things like steel and fiberglass and glass and a variety of other materials, aluminum or wood or whatever it may be. So there's a reason why we all use plastic. What we're trying to do is we're trying to reduce the amount of plastic, reduce the amount of carbon emissions while giving people a fairly easy switching alternative. Over time, of course, we'd all like to move away from fossil fuel plastics over the long run. But in the interim, we need something that actually makes a change, a meaningful change now.
Okay. During your presentation, you used the phrase polymer success criteria. Can you explain that to me a bit?
Well, polymer success criteria essentially means you have to have a variety of different characteristics in your polymers and in your product offering before it will actually be successful in the market. So I kind of look at the customer and kind of 3 main people, and sometimes one person is 2. But there's the marketing person and the CEO, there's the CFO, and there's the chief operating officer. And I got to make all of them happy. So the CEO and the marketing person are looking for something that they can market. They're looking for a sustainable solution that moves the needle a little bit. And the CFO is looking for something that's cost effective and available. And the chief operating officer is looking for something that they can actually process using their existing equipment, and they can do so in volume, and they have a reliable supplier. All of those different components come together to create a polymer that people will actually buy and use.
Okay. And this is sort of maybe a hypothetical question, but there's talk about synthetic fibers, which are made from petroleum. Mm-hmm. Could you make synthetic fibers from hemp plastic?
In theory, yes. That's not what we do. What we do right now is we blend micronized hemp, which could be hemp waste, or it could be not hemp waste, but micronized hemp in with different thermoplastics. Yes, you can polymerize hemp. You can polymerize other plants as well. And, PLA, for instance, is made with corn. You can make it with sugar cane. You can make it with a variety of different biomaterial. In our particular case, this is the way we have approached the market. We've done it for good reasons, too.
Okay. Can you tell me a little bit about sort of the nature of the patents? You've been granted patents, but you've got a few others that you're waiting on. Can you sort of talk about the nature of those?
Yeah, our patents, we have 33 patents, 11 are issued, 22 are pending. The patents are really around blending the micronized hemp with thermoplastics. So we don't have a patent on a piece of equipment. We don't have a patent on a type of jar or that kind of thing. We actually have a patent on the actual making of our polymer.
On the process.
Yes, on the process. It's a very core patent. And so what we did is we acquired a bunch of patents, and we were issued the patents on those, and then we wrapped patent applications around that for different parts of the hemp plant, different compatibilizers and other antimicrobials and things like that associated with our plastic. So we've got a nice kind of portfolio of patents which create a nice moat around the business, protect the kind of work that we're doing, and also provide a real incentive for large companies to work with us because they know we're the patent leader, we're the technology leader in this space.
Okay, you mentioned a wastewater treatment in your presentation. Talk about how the plastic polymer changes their process.
Yeah.
You said it was like a 90% efficiency change or something like that, right?
Yeah, it is. So in wastewater treatment, we're making great strides with our partner customer, and we keep a lot of the kung fu associated with that proprietary and quiet. But really, with working with that customer, and they have a proprietary process as well, we've been able to significantly reduce the amount of time it takes in settlement rates. And so by doing so, the amount of capital expenditure required for municipalities or industrial customers to treat their wastewater drops significantly if they want to increase their flow rates. So it's a great way for many, many customers out there who need to increase their wastewater flow rates to maintain or hold or dramatically reduce their anticipated capital expenditures because they can use this new technology that dramatically improves their performance of their systems.
That's incredible. I imagine that the wastewater treatment industry is psyched about this, or how are you getting out to them? Are you in their trade publications yet?
Yeah, you know what? It's a new technology. It's been ramping up. We have several installations around North America right now. It is going global. It is going to have a big impact on the industry. We're very excited about it, and we're really just kind of, we have, like I said, we have several installations already, but all of this information is starting to come out now, and I think we're going to have a big impact on the market.
Awesome. I'm looking forward to watching your success. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
My name is Joseph Carringer. I'm with CannaMarkets Group and HempToday. My role in CannaMarkets Group is lead strategist and project manager, and in HempToday, I work in business development.
All right. Can you sort of explain what those two entities are?
Absolutely. So 10 years ago, Kurt Ryer founded HempToday, which is the voice of the global hemp industry. It provides news, media, a variety of different communication solutions, and has the daily news as well as advertising marketing. And so that's the HempToday entity. CannaMarkets Group is a consultancy that I started in 2019. And to explain CannaMarkets Group, I need to give a little background on myself. So I wrote my first papers on cannabis, psychoactive cannabis, in 1992, when I first went to university, and discovered industrial hemp for myself as a difference when I was doing a preprint t-shirt company that was a pro-cannabis company on cotton. So we wanted to make clothing that allowed people to be open about being supportive of cannabis, but didn't have to look like Cheech and Chong. And that was really so it was Cafe 420, and it was all this like really cool, kitschy stuff that was all based around looking good while promoting cannabis activism. I ran into the Ecolution crew by accident. My CFO was searching online, and I came into work the day after he had bumped into Ecolution in their denim jeans, and ended up having a conversation with BioPhil from EnviroTextiles. And I come into our office, and he was like, "Do you want to make jeans out of hemp?" And I said, "Burlap?" And he said, "No, it's jeans." And I said, "Yeah, but burlap." Because I came from a traditional apparel background. Like I worked for Edison Brothers at age 15. I was a stock boy and came up through that Oak Tree mall apparel retail world and was actually opening stores, Third Key, the whole nine. So like I was into fashion, and my whole thing was, okay, I can sell burlap pants because it's all about the brand. And so that's, for me, it's all been about branding, marketing, advertising, because that's what drives. Yeah.
So you burlap pants because you thought hemp was rough and coarse and could only make burlap?
I didn't know anything different. That was the popular, that's what hemp meant to me. And then he put me on a call with BioPhil, and I ended up seeing Eastern European hemp twill and 100% hemp, and went, oh, I can make jeans. And so in 1997, 1998, we developed the first streetwear, fashion-forward, wide-leg hemp jean. It actually was available in indigo, black, and natural. That sold out. And Ecolution ended up not having the resources to sustain, ended up filing for bankruptcy because of stuff before I got there, well before I got there. And the company ended up, what happened with me was I got picked up by a company called HempWorks. And from there, I put together a men's and women's hemp collection that was targeted for Pacific Sunwear and Hot Topic. And at that point, Pacific Sunwear did take a purchase order of the product, but we weren't able to fulfill because of the supply chain. We were still at that point, HempWorks was working in China, and the supply chains were just so. Fast forward to 2019, when I came back to the hemp industry, my goal was to set up a data and analytics forecasting consultancy that could provide an understanding of what was going on in the industry, what's going on in adjacent industries, how those things relate, and then how to provide product development and project management at the highest level for our industry so we can actually function within standard business paradigms, which, having worked with companies in version 1.0 and even seeing some of where version 2.0 is now, we need some standardization. We need some understanding of traditional business practices. We need some understanding of branding. So that's the CannaMarkets group side, the reports, the business consulting, and those services.
Okay. And then talk a little bit about the work you do for HempToday.
Yeah, so in HempToday, we publish 4 reports a year. CannaMarkets group does 4 reports a year that are published through HempToday. This year, they were, we started in Q4 of 2024. So that was the textile report was our first one that we put out. We've done the SWOT analysis, which was the Q1 report, and this last report was the North American processor report. Each one of them is a deep dive in their own way. The next report that's going to be coming out is the environmental report and the environmental sustainability report, and that's actually being done by our PhD, Lorelei Alvarez, she's a University of Virginia PhD, teaches environmental sciences at New Mexico, NMSU, New Mexico State University. And a lot, what we do in our reports, there's a lot of, and having been doing this, been in the industry for 30 years, been around this for 30 years, there's a lot of Kool-Aid. I come from the Jack Herrera era. So I'm not in any way trying to be a downer or to say that things aren't going well, but there are things that we need to pay attention to. So to definitely bring some truth to what's actually going on. De-hype some things. And not that we don't need some hype and positivity, but there are aspects when I hear people continue to say 1 acre of hemp equals 4 acres of trees, that curls everything on the back of my head because it leaves out all of Lister's paper, the type of tree, poplar, the number of years it takes to grow. And we have a lot of those things that, especially in the environmental side, that we need to overcome. But they also, we've got some expectations in every single one of these categories, whether it was in the textile report and getting an understanding of the difference, like in the talk we were just in, understanding the importance of long fiber versus short fiber. Yeah. What's the difference between traditional long line hemp that's been wet spun versus and it's not that cottonization is bad, it's a different product. So you can't expect a cottonized hemp fabric to perform like a traditional long fiber wet spun yarn was going to perform. The SWOT analysis, we're not saying that everything is bad, but we need to look at what are their strengths. We need to understand our weaknesses. There are opportunities, but they're not going to work out if we don't look at the threats, and then going into the processor report, it was the same thing. When you look at the current capacity in North America, and you look at the demand, they so outweigh each other just in 2 major processors. With 2 major processors in the United States alone, you have a capacity of 70,000 acres. I can't find 70,000 acres of material that is being used inside of any consumer-facing product line right now. And the comparable investment into product development has not been made. So these are the things we're trying to bring forward, is an understanding of the executive level thinking that needs to take place when you're operating a growing industry without a master plan. Because that's the other thing, is we have had no industry cooperative master planning process.
And what would that look like?
To get everybody to do a master plan? It's funny, 2 years ago here at NC State, they did the executive roundtable on how to develop a sustainable industrial hemp supply chain. And I think that that's probably been one of the closest things that I've seen. If cooperatively you could bring the executive teams of each one of these, who the torch has fallen on because they're the biggest, the largest brands and the ones that everybody's looking at, but get them into a room to be able to start looking at, okay, this is what's going on. And get them to start acting strategy cooperatively with each other. I think that would benefit not only the processors who are at a capacity that is out of whack, but then they could also work together to start finding some brands or some product lines to be able to invest in.
Okay, so you're not talking about like the advocacy groups or them working together. What role do they have?
So I am really, it's interesting because we do work with some of the associations. I said something the other day when I was talking to one of these executives of one of the larger processors, and they were asking me about what I thought about the role of lobbying is right now. Now you got to remember, I started out in 1992 writing papers on psychoactive cannabis. For me, we've got all the lobbying we need right now, and I don't mean that we can't keep going, but what if we continue to look at these lobbying organizations as some sort of guiding group? They're not making product. My whole thing, when I finally found out you could make product in 1997, we were sitting there and, we had our clothing being seized as they were coming into the country by the DEA, sitting in customs, and there was hemp clothing. We don't have to worry about any of that anymore. We can now actually manufacture clothing, oils, all of that, food, fuel, fiber, biomass, all of that now we can do with the laws we have. So in terms of taking any type of guidance right now from lobbying individuals or organizations, to me, that's a distraction from what's really important, which is product development. Not to say that we don't need to be looking at what's going on with CBD. We don't need to be looking at what's going on with gas station weed. That's all very real. Very, very real. But because of that distraction, we've also been losing control of our branding as hemp. We worked really hard in the 90s and the early 2000s to teach people what is hemp. And now we have people once again thinking hemp is
weed.
Right.
Yeah. I am always thinking about that, like reaching consumers and changing, the perception of it. And I have ideas, for like a got milk kind of campaign, right? And we need to do that because that's the answer, right? That's we need to create demand in the mind of the consumer.
So there right now are very few, if any, products available where hemp is the star of the dish, like in Beat Bobby Flay, right? Beat Bobby Flay, two chefs come out, Bobby hands them an ingredient, broccoli. Make broccoli the star of the dish. Hemp food's not even the star of hemp, not even the star of the dish in hemp food. I've drank the Kool-Aid in 1999. I eat hemp seed every day, all right? But show me a hemp food product. And I understand that you have planet-based foods and they make that really good burger. It's a $9 burger. Show me something that the average person can look at and go, I can access this. And that's what hemp food is. Doesn't exist. In apparel, everything is blended right now. 100% hemp got really pushed to the back, and we were pushing that to the front in the 90s and 2000s. For me, my bias is denim, which is really funny because the talk we just came out of, the last two talks, everybody was just talking about denim, which is also what I'm going to be talking about on Thursday. Hemp denim gives a very unique opportunity for a customer to see something that is 100% hemp, but hemp denim can perform side by side, if not better than cotton denim. And that's the part that gets really exciting. So finding the things that hemp does really well when it is also allowed to be hemp. So again, when you're looking at the apparel mindset right now in North America, in the United States, it's this cottonization approach. Hemp is not being hemp. Hemp is not the star of the dish. So now we bring back and we like, how do we get consumers to understand what hemp is? Let it be the star of the dish. Let it be hemp.
Amen to that.
I'm Eric Henry, president of TS Designs. We're based in Burlington, North Carolina.
All right, and what is it that you do at TS Designs? Do you design TSs? I'm not even sure what that is.
Oh, it's been a journey. I started the business in 1978, merged with my business partner who started TS Designs in 1977, and we went on to become a large contract screen printer. We did work for all the brands, Tommy, Nike, Gap, Polo. Great business model until January 1, 1994, when NAFTA was ratified. 2 years after that, all the brands had left, and I had the painful job of laying off 100 of our 120 employees. So we never left. We understand the value of not only domestic apparel manufacturing, but we live in one of the best places in the world at the intersection of agriculture and apparel. So we're very focused on making the highest quality, most sustainable printed apparel.
All right, and you're sort of famous for the term dirt to shirt. So tell me about that whole thing.
Yes. Well, what happened, and again, our business was wiped out by NAFTA, and I looked around as everything's moving overseas, and I said, wait a minute, we grow a lot of great cotton here in North Carolina. why are we exporting that around the world only to come back to our country to buy it? So we launched a brand called Cotton of the Carolinas, and with the slogan "Dirt to Shirt." And it was one of the first supply chains I know of is that not only we're buying the cotton from the farmer, we did it in a completely transparent supply chain. We started a website called Wear, W-H-E-R-E, or clothing.com, and it allowed the consumer to see the whole supply chain all the way back to the farmer. And so when we fast forward today in a global economy, and again, I like to say we're not going to put that genie back in the bottle, but we're getting lacking less and less transparency of where clothes come from. And the labels that are in clothes today do not cover it all, because that made in Bangladesh t-shirt could be North Carolina cotton. You as a consumer have no way to know that.
Right. Okay. So how did you get from cotton to hemp?
Well, we also realized the values of natural fibers over synthetic fibers. I got introduced to hemp, oh my gosh, 20 plus years ago, probably longer than that. And I saw, wow, this plays well with cotton. It really expands the things you can do with cotton. It adds strength, durability, but we let our farmers grow it. So even though our process worked well with hemp, just like with cotton, I wasn't going to support a fiber that we're going to let our farmers grow. So again, a few years ago with the Farm Bill and making hemp legal in this country again, the journey is starting. But we've got still a lot of catch up to do, because cotton's been around for many, many years, and we've got that dialed in. And it's exciting to be at this conference and watching how NC State has taken a leadership role and how this conference is really pushing and bringing that industry back.
Yeah. We were hearing Dave Cook from Tuscarora Mills.
Mm-hmm.
It sort of felt like he sort of chucked a grenade into that cottonized hemp room, talking about the long fibers.
Right.
What do you think about what he was talking about?
Oh, I understand the advantage of the long fiber. You know, it's kind of the chicken or egg. One reason everybody's going to cottonization is because we don't have the facilities to do the long staple. But also, we got to understand the value of the long staple makes even a higher quality, longer lasting fabric than the cottonized. So I think, we have to support both, but the main thing, we're getting a natural fiber out there in a time where we're dealing with another big issue called microplastics. And so we got another big challenge out there. So we need to do anything we can do from the cottonization and the long staple to bring, hemp to our market.
Yeah. I was having a conversation with somebody yesterday about microplastics and clothing being a source of them. And
yes.
Is it like from washing and like the plastic breaks down and gets into the water system and goes out to the ocean? Is that your understanding?
Yes. Yeah. And then what I've read or understand is then there was this big move to, and we fell for it too. Probably about 10 years ago, we developed a brand called Carolina Blend, which was using 50% North Carolina cotton and 50% recycled PET. Because prior to learning about microplastics, it was all about let's recycle. So we got on that bandwagon. So, matter of fact, I went to my first hemp conference in Danville, Virginia, again, probably 10 years ago, lose track of time. And that's where I heard about microplastic. I had no idea what microplastic was. So literally came back to my office, did some more research, talked to the guy that presented that day, learned more about it, and we were on the verge of releasing this brand called Carolina Blend. We put full stop. We canceled the brand. We canceled the order for 10,000 pounds of yarn, which would make about 15,000 T-shirts, because I said, we're not going to go down that path. So I think what we're doing with microplastics is very similar to what we did with climate change. We didn't listen to the warning signs, and we just kind of pushed it off, and now we just create this monster that's in our environment. It's in you, it's in me, it's in the air, it's in the water. We don't know what the repercussions are going to be, but we're putting something that's not natural into our system.
And we might not see the repercussions for generations.
Exactly. Yeah. We're the old guys here. I'm worried about that 5-year-old kid that's being introduced to microplastics at 5 years old. We're getting introduced at an older age, so...
Or they might be born with microplastics in them.
Oh, they are. Oh, yeah. I don't think we're going to end up in a good place.
Have you seen the hemp polyester blend shirt over there?
Yeah. Well, I saw it, shook my head, and walked away. I mean, we got, that's the worst place to be mixing synthetics with natural fibers, because it makes it a bitch to recycle. And again, that is the last place we need to put plastics, because plastics, as somebody said earlier, is a part of our lives. We're not going to get away from it. But plastic and clothes is the worst thing, because you said earlier, it's the daily washing and wearing that's breaking it down. Having a plastic bench or a plastic stool that's going to last for 50 years, 60 years, that's a better use for it. But God damn it, stop putting it in our clothes.
All right. Well, it's that time in the show where we talk to Andrew Bish. Hi, Andrew. How are you?
I'm well. How are you, Eric?
Hanging in there, getting a little loopy here on Tuesday afternoon.
Yeah, it's been quite the day.
All right. So, what's your takeaway so far from this event?
I'm pleasantly surprised. I'm really impressed with the number of people that there are here, and I guess the variety of information relative to fibers specifically. There's a lot more information than I anticipated that we'd see, and we're just in day one.
It is a fiber summit, so
Yeah, fair, but there's also no offtake for fiber. So the amount of innovation going into, a material that currently we don't have a solution into the marketplace with is interesting.
it's profound what's happening, I think.
Yeah, I don't know if we could put together a 3-day herd conference, but that's the product that people are buying, right? So yeah, this is interesting. I mean, the good news here is it looks like they're onto some technologies that might lead to a market. So that's what we want, right? Right now, the cost of herd production is too high because we don't have a fiber outlet. So it'd be nice to see if maybe some of these technologies can turn into an offtake system for these different processors.
So, getting back to a 3-day herd conference. So, day 1, horse betting. Day 2, houses. Day 3, mixed bag.
Yeah, that'd be too much herd, probably. I think that'd be way too much herd.
All right, so we're going out to Lumberton tomorrow to see some, processing facilities and whatnot. What are you looking forward to?
I'm just interested in what is this facility? How big is this facility? I've heard about the facility. I've met David Camby. Not put eyes on any of this myself. So I like taking field trips. This is a good field trip opportunity. Looking forward to that.
Yeah, and we get to ride a bus. I know you like buses.
Yeah, I'm not quite sold on the bus, so we're going to see how we can circumvent the bus policy.
You're either on the bus or off the bus.
That's what you say.
Well, no. That's what Ken Kesey said to the Merry Pranksters.
I just learned who Ken Kesey was last night.
Really?
Yeah, I had no idea who.
Tell
Ken
me
Kesey
what you
and the
learned.
Merry Pranksters. It happened to be a subject at the table last night when we were talking.
This is serendipity at its finest here. Tell me more.
I don't know much about Ken Kesey, but I know I Googled him last night, looked up the Merry Pranksters. Drew Kitt brought him up. It was a conversation between me, Morris, Joe Hickey, and I was the only one that did not know who these people were.
I think Joe Hickey may have actually been one of the Merry Pranksters, but I'm not sure about that.
Well, Joe's lived several lifetimes, so it's very possible.
Ken Kesey wrote several books before he went on the trip across the country in 1964. It's a fascinating story, Ken Kesey, but one book is called Sometimes a Great Notion, and it is an excellent book, and I think you should read it.
Sometimes a great notion. Okay.
All right, Andrew Bish, good to catch up with you.
Thanks, Eric.
Coleman Beale. I'm the CEO of BastCore.
And describe BastCore for me.
We are a hemp processing company based in Montgomery, Alabama. We've developed a unique proprietary system for us to process the fiber, and we've now been issued patents on that system and getting a lot of interest in the material.
All right, now who's growing for you, and can you talk about sort of like the output, throughput?
Yeah, we source our material really from all over, primarily in the southeastern United States.
Okay. There's a lot of fiber growers down here.
We certainly could use more.
And then what happens after you produce your fiber?
Well, we work with partners. Primarily, we got our start really in the textile space, particularly on the apparel side of the business. So that continues to be a big focus of us. But we've seen other markets and nonwovens coming online as well. So there definitely seems to be an increase in demand in not only U.S.-made material, but U.S.-made sustainable materials.
Were you the one who was talking about the J curve?
That was me.
Talk about that J curve that you're seeing.
Yeah. So I just think that we're at a really interesting time within the industry. As I said in my presentation, we started the business in 2014, so we've seen a lot of stops and starts and ups and downs, and I just think that there's a growing swell of demand that's coming for the material, and we're all of us that are here are right on the front end of that curve.
I love your optimism. How's the conference going for you?
It's been fantastic. Yeah, a lot of great people here. We're seeing a lot of new faces, talked to a lot of people. It's been a really good attended and a lot of magic being made.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Was there anything that sort of like rocked your world or rubbed you the wrong way? Anything that surprised you?
Generally speaking, the maybe a sense of optimism, a sense of collaboration is just really refreshing to see, which is good.
David Camby, BioPhil Natural Fibers.
I've been hearing a lot about you for years now, and it is an honor to talk to you. So it's cool. I'm looking forward to going out to your place in Lumberton tomorrow. Mm-hmm. Can you tell me what we're going to see?
Well, we're still in work in progress, but we're actually integrating processing and spinning, which will be the only one in America right now where we have an incubator where we can spin, blend, grow from seed to fiber, from seed to yarn. And so it's work in progress. We're not all the way there yet, but been 6 years in the making.
How'd you get your start in hemp?
Actually, I started growing sun hemp because I'm a big hunter, and I was using sun hemp to regenerate the soil. And I did that for about 10 years. Whenever in 2018 they started talking about hemp, I'm like, okay, I'm familiar with sun hemp, so it ain't, it's supposed to be the cousin. And then we started on the CBD, lost 75 grand the first year, switched over to industrial hemp, working with Carolina Mills, was deciding how do we move forward. We didn't have a decorticator, we didn't have nothing. And then that's where we started, me and Tamor and all them, and with, back then was Brandon that was designing the Formation Ag 660. Okay. So we met up in Michigan in 2020, and we actually debuted some, we was the first one to have fiber and herd at a trade show all the way back in 2020.
That's amazing.
And we was educating the farmers, look, this is the way of the future, not the CBD. Let's go ahead and go this route.
That's cool. I think the first time I heard your name was you had some kind of processing facility in Phoenixville, Pennsylvania?
Yes. Whenever I got introduced with Marcel and all that, it was Nottingham Farms. I'm going to say that was probably mid-2020. Okay. The COVID just started, matter of fact. They had some D8s and all that and wanted me to come up, and we looked at everything. And then I'm one of these, you don't give up, you keep going. And we started a trial. We started playing around with Chris Hayes. He was an engineering firm up in Pennsylvania where he was developing some of the hemp stuff. And then we realized everybody's guessing in this game. So we figured we could guess just a lot cheaper, and we started buying equipment from South Carolina and modifying it and figuring out what we could work with. The other benefit of Pennsylvania at that particular time, whenever everybody started talking about hemp, everybody talked about you got to degum. Well, Pennsylvania had Dave Littlewood, only degummer, in Philadelphia, so it makes sense to go ahead and work there. And we built a good rapport with him. You can go back on my LinkedIn profile and see that we had degummed hemp back in 2021. Wow. Now was it workable? Did you use it for textiles? No, but we had degummed. It was just too brittle. They used too much caustic soda. So, we started working from there, developing a pilot line, and after we finally got clean fiber, we decided to scale up. By that time, we'd been in Pennsylvania 3 years. We decided, I live in North Carolina, that we wanted to be closer, so I got tired of traveling 8.5 hours, 454 miles to the facility from my house.
I don't blame it.
So we started looking for things around North Carolina, run across the facility. It was an opportunity zone. Robeson County, after doing research, is the largest agricultural county in North Carolina, so it made sense to be around the farmers. There's 5 cotton gins around me, so it made kind of sense to go ahead and purchase this building, buy the land with it, and then start our scaling up, building bigger equipment that we perfected up in Pennsylvania.
All right. So do you have a background in farming or like equipment?
Jack of all trades.
All right.
I'm a hands-on. We don't have no book to go by. We don't have no fancy engineers. Everything we've done by hand.
That's cool.
So if our machine breaks, I don't have to bring some engineer from Germany. I can go to Napa and buy a part.
Nice. All right. So we're going out to your place tomorrow, and then you're going to have some finished products sometime this year? Is that what you said?
We're working with the airflow right now. We've already tested out stuff. Now we're perfecting on keeping dust down and everything. Yeah. Now the spinning line might be later on. I'm going to say first quarter next year because there's a lot more infrastructure goes into place. And that's just getting it up and running. We've got it installed, got power to it. Now we got to make some tweaks. And then we start the whole new R&D where we start seeing how we can blend hemp with the cotton and what ratio we can do. So it's a whole process. It's a learning process from start to finish.
What did you think of Dave Cook talking about long fibers? might be better than short fibers.
Well, the funny thing is, before Dave got in that, we was working together up in Pennsylvania, and I introduced him to a lot of people, and now he's took it off and turned it into a rock star. But he's only focused on that one specific thing where I've got to focus on 8 different things. Yeah. I applaud him. I mean, he's took it and learned year after year. Yeah. And I've always said I think Pennsylvania is going to be a great place because you're part of the fiber shed, the whole 9. So, I mean, it's a good thing with what they're doing. Him and Joe both.
Cool. What do you think of this summit?
Actually, I like that it's more focused. We're here with a lot of targeted audience with the textile background where we're trying to go. I want to see more of the construction stuff, uses of herd be implemented, because without utilizing that herd, textile industry is not going to exist. Right. You don't make enough money off the fiber from textiles. You have to incorporate your product. I love everybody's using it for animal bedding, but that's not going to pay the bills after everybody starts flooding the market with animal bedding. So I want to see more research and development from colleges, from individuals on how to utilize that herd, because that is our cash flow as a processor.
Yeah. For me, it's housing. It's the hempcrete houses. That stuff's amazing.
So, well, hempcrete's good. You got the spray and installation. Tomorrow, you'll actually see some products that's actually incorporated from somebody out of Pennsylvania with a green concrete that's already got an EDP report. It's carbon neutral. And you'll see some products we've incorporated mineralized herd in that makes that actually carbon negative.
Awesome. I'm looking forward to seeing that. Thank you, David Camby. Great to talk to you.
Thank you.
All right, so there you go. That was side 3 of the Global Hemp Fiber Summit. Gonna flip the record here. Now we're gonna hear from Dave Cook, Satish Hodage, Patrick Atagi, Ding Hongliang, and Trey Riddle. Maybe a surprise or two. Let's see what we have here on side 4. All right, dropping the needle now. Hi, Dave.
Hi, Eric. How are you today?
I'm okay. I'm tired.
Yeah, it's long travel.
It's a long day.
I got stuck in traffic going around D.C. I thought I was all the way into somewhere in Virginia, and I still hadn't crossed the Potomac River yet.
That's a bummer. I just saw you give your presentation up there. I thought you did a really great job. How do you feel about it?
It was a great opportunity to talk to the industry about the challenges that I face as a weaver of trying to source American hemp. It's always what we wanted to do. And yet it's 2025, and 7 years have gone by since I got my hemp license in Pennsylvania to grow hemp, and I still can't buy yarn.
You talked about the long fiber as being maybe like a better alternative to the short fiber cottonization process that everyone's sort of selling here. That sort of felt like a truth to power moment or a chucking a grenade moment. Have you gotten any feedback from people on that?
Not really. No, it's not about throwing a grenade. It's about...
Maybe that was the wrong metaphor. I'm sorry.
No, for me, it's very simple. I ask myself continually, why can't I buy hemp yarn that's of high quality and at a decent price that's made here in the United States? And there's a lot of reasons for that I've discovered over the years. And many of those reasons have to do with how we've been processing hemp for textiles here in North America. And it's not rocket science. People around the world do this and do it well and produce a quality product that allows me as a weaver to produce quality fabrics. So in any type of making, the materials you start with have a direct relationship to the efficiency of your ability to produce a good, and the good that you produce is directly related to the quality of the materials that you produce. It's that simple.
Garbage in, garbage out.
High quality in, high performance out.
There you go. I was just talking to Dave Camby, BioPhil Natural Fibers. The stuff he's working on, is that going to fulfill your dream of buying hemp yarn in the U.S.?
Well, I don't know. I'm excited to go out and see Dave's operation. I've known David for a long time, and he's a real innovator and a hard worker and a person that's no bull. And as you probably know, there's a lot of bull in any business.
Can you say bull on this show?
Sure. I just did, but the reality is that everyone has a story to tell about the goodness, the success, the effervescence of
You were about to say the goodness of hemp, right?
No, I was, but
Ken, go ahead, say
okay.
it.
But the reality is that, like I said in the speech, or in the presentation, is that just because it has hemp in it doesn't make it good, right? What makes hemp a superior product, what offers high performance, are these qualities. And if you're going to make things out of hemp, those qualities have to be at the forefront for the customer or the buying public to be able to experience that and have something to talk about in a positive way.
Cool. All right. So, thoughts in general on this conference, this summit?
Oh, it's a rock star time. It's amazing. I mean, we're from Pennsylvania, right? And I've been coming down to the Carolinas for 7 or 8 years for textiles, most of it around hemp. And I go home and it's sort of frustrating because we have this incredible legacy of natural fibers of hemp and flax and wool. I mean, hemp and flax are written into the charter of William Penn, and you could pay for your taxes with hemp seed and flax seed. And we produced all the flax seed for Europe for the better part of the 19th century into the 20th century. And you come down here and you see not a thriving industry, but you see an industry that still has proprietary knowledge, it still has infrastructure, still has capital, still has people working in this. And we go back up to Pennsylvania and, it's a legacy industry. There's very few people, there's very little focus on that. And as a person that's a weaver and as a person that's a hemp farmer, hey, it's a great legacy. We need to turn into the wind here and face up to, the traditions that we've had. They're just waiting to be renewed, revived,
Reignited.
Absolutely. And so, I see myself, and you probably do the same. You travel around the country, you see all this stuff. When it comes to hemp and textiles, there's great opportunity in the state of Pennsylvania. We have, agriculture is our number one industry. We have access to markets. We still have a lot of people who are interested and have a knowledge of these materials, whether it's hemp or flax. We've got the Pennsylvania Flax Project. These Heidi and Emma are, leading the charge. They're out there, at the forefront, the tip of the spear when it comes to renewing the linen industry in North America, and I'm grateful to be, right alongside them as a fellow bast fiber warrior.
And we should mention our Department of Agriculture. They seem supportive.
Yeah, definitely. Mike Roth, Secretary Redding, certainly Governor Shapiro, all people who have recognized the potential of hemp, what it could mean for the regional economy, and what it could really mean for small farmers. The reality is that in the world today, there's 4 basic supply chains for cannabis sativa, right? You've got cannabinoids, you've got seed for food and feed, you've got cellulose, for lack of a better term, for building materials, and you have fiber for textiles and other things. We are, in the United States, the world leaders in the cannabinoids front. And why is that? Because for 2 generations, we've been investing underground, okay, and quote unquote illegally, in research, in development, in providing to the marketplace what the customer wants. And with legalization, and whether it's medical or recreational, what's happened is that business has blossomed. Yet on the other 3 supply chains, we've struggled for a variety of reasons, but the main one is that we really haven't figured out exactly how to deliver what the marketplace wants and how to put together a supply chain to cohesively pull the material through to the consumer.
Does the marketplace know what it wants? Do the consumers know what they want yet?
Well, the reason I am a weaver of natural fiber fabrics, it is really simple. I don't believe this whole model of oil as a base material in textiles. Now, when it comes to the total global footprint, carbon footprint of the textile industry, about 80% of it is based in fibers that we produce. The other 20% is in chemistry and energy to produce and manufacture. So if you and I have any hope of our kids having a planet that's going to support life, okay, every single system, every single supply chain is going to have to reduce its carbon footprint. And when you look at textiles, the fat turkey on the table is that 80% of synthetic fiber, right? Or 80% of the fiber, of which I think 75% of it's actually made out of extracted hydrocarbons in one way or the other. So the trick is, to me, is reducing that, taking a bite out of that oil as a base material or natural gas as a base material, and reducing our dependence or our reliance upon inexpensive materials that have high societal and high environmental costs. And that's why I believe in natural fibers, and that's why I'm committed with Tuscarora Mills to producing these goods and renewing and reviving, re-energizing those materials as a feedstock for our textile needs.
That's awesome. David Cook from Tuscarora Mills.
My name is Satish Hodage. I'm the founder and Chief Technology Officer for YUJ Labs. We are based out in Charlotte, North Carolina.
Okay, and from what I understand, you modify lignocellulosic materials. Is that right?
That's correct. Lignocellulosic materials are the materials. They are commonly available on our earth resources. Anything which is on biomass, the fiber forms, they are lignocellulosic materials. That is a part, lignin and cellulose, where our expertise lies in modifying these lignocellulosic material to transform into a sellable products that can be used in consumer goods production. And again, the key is we need to integrate these functional materials into the consumer goods production.
Yeah. And your process, does it eliminate the need for wet processing and degumming?
For certain application, the answer is yes. Today, the industry is looking majority market for denim jeans applications, where we have proved that you don't need a degumming for that type of manufacturing product. So eventually you can work with modifying the surface of the fiber and use it into the manufacturing of jeans rather than going for a wet degumming, which involves chemical cost, which involves water treatment, which involves extra addition cost. Today the industry has a challenge to survive, compete cotton. So my goal was to reduce the cost of the fibers to be spun into jeans application. So with that objective, we have been able to eliminate the degumming for certain applications. Coming back to where do we need degumming? Yes, for the high-end functional fibers, we definitely need degumming. It's not called fiber processing. I don't use the word degumming. It's called as fiber processing, where you modify the fibers for functionalities. So for functionality of spinning, functionality of absorbency, functionality of having an additional softness or fire retardancy. So where there is a need of fiber modification, we always target that. But if you don't need to be modifying the fibers using a wet process, I would go with the surface treatment.
Okay. I have here in my notes, Avira means pureness. Can you tell me what is Avira, and then how does it connect to what you're doing?
YUJ means it's a Sanskrit terminology for yoga. It means unite, to connect together. That's the meaning of YUJ. And Avira means, that's my company, YUJ Labs. And Avira means is again derived from Sanskrit terminology. Avira means pureness, giving a new identity. We are really giving the hemp fiber a new functional identity. We are adding value to the hemp fiber. That's how Avira stands.
That's amazing. And where can people learn more about your company?
We have our website. You can visit us via www.yujlabs.com.
All right, so I'm here with Patrick Atagi, President and CEO of the National Industrial Hemp Council of America, the organization that has put this whole hemp summit together. So Patrick, hello, how are you doing?
I'm doing great, Eric. I'm glad to be here and glad to be chatting with you again.
Yeah, so initial thoughts on day one of the summit?
Oh, it's been fantastic. We were sold out. That's the downside. We got an overflow room and that filled up. So, we are heading in the right direction. Our meetings are great. Our in-person meetings have been great. We have them every year except for during the COVID times. But we're listening to our members. We're listening to the industry. And hemp fiber and hemp grain and focusing in those areas. So we said, okay, we listen to you, and we're doing, in addition to our meetings that people love, we made it specifically hemp fiber, sold out. It's fantastic.
Yeah, and this is the perfect spot for it. Can you talk a bit about why NC State is the perfect spot?
Yeah, traditionally, if you go back, historically, the South and Southeast was a textile manufacturing, of the world. And then, as things developed and cheaper labor, it moved out to Mexico, and then Mexico lost it to China, and, China lost it to India. But we're bringing, manufacturing back to America, and this administration is very much so. And North Carolina is the heart, of textiles, as you know, and speaking to the choir. But so we partner with NC State, the Textile University, and it's worked out extremely well.
Good. I'm really looking forward to the field trips going out to Lumberton. In your view, what's the best thing that we're going to see?
I think it's just for general. There are those experts here like you, specific. But I think just
I'm not an expert. I'm just a storyteller paying attention on the sidelines.
Yeah, that's kind of like farmers saying, "Oh, shucky darns," and it's like that's when you're going up to the Capitol Hill. That's when you hold on to your wallet. You're very well versed, Eric, and appreciate that. But I think it's just kind of seeing the new technology and. But I also think it's just the networking for me. For others, they're looking for something specific. But for me, it's, time on the bus to network with each other. And, what I'm finding striking and I'm hearing, and we're just day one, like deals are being made. People are doing business. It's not just hey, how are you and what are you doing? It's people are buying, our folks from South America are buying and, just we're seeing that trend of, it's going from this, it could be this or this is the future to, actually it's happening and heading in the right direction. We're talking with big names, in the hemp, grain side of the equation. We're talking with Campbell Soup, who acquired some companies, to help, build up their sector. And then we're doing work in India with our grants. Yeah, just really excited. But it's more just the networking. That's what we do. And what I said before, networking,
Networking works.
Networking works. Working together works. Yeah, working together works. But networking works, right? Working together works, And so, as I said today, working together works, and let's get to work. And that's what's happening. People are.
Cool. And so what's coming up for NIHC in the rest of the year? Any trips or things?
Yeah, that's a really good question, Eric. And that's what, there's so many shiny objects out there. There's so many things to do. So, we're very focused on the international trade part of it, but we're also on the domestic side, developing markets, in the U.S. And that's kind of early 2026. We're laying the groundwork for that now. But for the rest of this year, New Zealand and our bioplastics member that was here today Glen spoke, they're wanting to do some purchasing and sales in New Zealand. And then we'll be looking at trying to get Portugal set up. We put an application in for a booth with Textile Exchange, so they're the largest association. We're members, and they're our members, the Nikes and Adidas and Patagonias and you name it in the clothing sector. So hopefully we'll do that in October and then back to Thailand. Hempwood made some inroads there, even though, they're changing their laws. But still there's opportunity for, non-traditional sectors. So Thailand and then Japan, there's another meeting after that. But planning for next year. So our hope is we'll be in New York City, one of the fashion capitals of the globe. So we're in discussions with that to have that meeting. So we're very excited about that. So people, stay tuned, for that meeting, and hopefully you can join us there in New York and in the Big Apple, and so we're very, very excited about things. It's been a while, as you know, but things are just trending in the right direction.
Let's say I wanted to become a member of NIHC, not me personally, because as a journalist, I don't think I can do that. But somebody out there listening. What's the best way to become a member?
Yeah, we've revamped our website and clarified things, and so just go to NIHC, National Industry Hemp Council, NIHCOA.com. And it's a lot more straightforward now just to sign up as a member at the appropriate level. We do have a patron level for those, at higher level. We've had some six-figure level members at a patron level, for them contact me directly, but otherwise join as a member. And we're growing there too. Our policy committee is growing. We're having a marketing and trade committee, and people ask, how do we get involved in these trade missions? And that's how. We communicate because we have to. We're a cooperator with the U.S. Department of Agriculture. They've chosen us as the group to work with the industry, right, overall. So we have to, but we just have regular meetings. So it'd be better just to join as a member to, just ensure that, you hear those communications versus, other methods. You hear, through you also, but joining as a member is the best way.
I'm essentially a rumor mill, right?
No, not at all. You're very factual and, communications, and, not everybody gets their news from everywhere. And plug for Lancaster, you guys are the best in the industry. So
thank
for
you.
hemp, so really appreciate you coming here and your time.
Well, thanks. You mentioned the trips that you do, and you invited me to be part of the delegation last year to Prague, and thank you for that. That was incredible. That was really an eye-opening experience. And how did that work for you guys? That was a successful trip for NIHC and the American hemp industry?
Yeah, absolutely. Sales were made, and it opened up the industry, but it also helps us with, our story to the government, and especially under this administration, right? They're all about trade. We met with Secretary Rowlands last week, and she was very much, trade, export, and very much, U.S. farmers, U.S. companies. So that was fantastic that we, have these stories, and we helped get past in this last iteration of the discretionary funds that were, being allocated, an increase of, almost doubling the funds for export. So those come up. It's not doubling of a market access program, but those types of programs, that funding went from $200 million to over $400 million. So we're, we'll be, applying for those and accessing those, and we have a very good opportunity. We're setting up meetings this week, with the Foreign Agricultural Service. So these things that are happening, right, even though that they're small, we have tremendous growth. And it looks good, for U.S. farmers, and, that's the clients of the U.S. Department of Agriculture. So they're very interested in working with us. The administrator was down in Peru as part of a trade mission with some of our member companies. And, sales were there, and so they're very excited. So,
This was just a recent trip to Lima that maybe that Guy Carpenter was on too?
Yep. That was the one with Guy Carpenter. Panda was on schedule for that, but they had to bow at the last minute. INT Hemp, were there, and sales are happening.
That's awesome. Well, Patrick, congratulations on, successful first day, and I assume it's going to just get better and better. So thank you for all of the work that you and your team have put into this.
No, thank you, Eric. And like I said, it was fantastic, and people look for the photos. It was a packed room. There's people standing in back, and nobody has left, and, we're in overflow, and, we'll have a bigger space, next year. New York, look forward to people, joining us then, and it's really, for a change, it's really great news and great things happening.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Patrick.
My name is Dean. I came from Hemp Fortex. I have been hemp industry since 1994, and Hemp Fortex was founded in 1999. It's already been 26 years. We are probably the largest, vertical hemp company. We started from farming, fiber processing, spinning, weaving, knitting, dyeing, printing, or cotton sewing. We do everything under one roof.
Can you tell me where your facility is and sort of the size of it, and as much info as you can?
We are based in China. We have 5 factories. Totally, we have 1,800 people. We are getting fiber from China, from Europe. Also, we are trying to get fiber from North America.
And how is that effort going?
We have been successfully getting fiber from Europe for 5 years in large, quantity. And we just started getting some sample containers from U.S. this year.
Good. And how is that fiber? How does it compare to European fiber or Chinese fiber?
I think U.S. fiber has a huge potential because you have really good land and a much cheaper land compared to China. This is surprising. I think U.S. fiber has a really big potential to get a good quality, and also most compatible, competitive in price to China or any other area.
What are a few things that the North American hemp industry can learn from your operation there in China?
With 30 years experience in the hemp industry, I think in U.S. now they just need to find the right process, method to get the textile level, fiber. This is all they need.
I imagine Guy Carpenter invited you here, and maybe you've worked with Guy for a long time?
Yes, I know Guy over 20 years. He's a really good guy, just like his name.
Did it take much convincing on his part to get you to come to the summit?
Not at all. I think I've really been honored, to be here to just share information with, the people in the same industry.
Was there something that you learned here at the summit that surprised you, or that you could take home to China and change things?
Quite a lot, actually. I was so amazed, the development of a hemp industry happening in U.S. I think I learned a lot. I think I understand better how we can work more closely with American hemp.
Can you sort of project out 5 years? What would the global hemp industry look like in 5 years from now?
Just like in my presentation, hemp material is like a tiny, tiny part for the whole textile industry. I think in next 5 years, it will grow so much, more than 10 times. This is, I think I'm sure of that.
I appreciate your optimism. Thank you, Ding.
Thank you.
Trey Riddle, welcome back to our podcast. How are you?
I'm doing well. How are you, Eric?
I am doing all right. Yeah. So here, day 3 at this Global Fiber Hemp Summit. I&D is a huge part of it. I see lots of, people talking. What's your assessment of this thing?
Oh, this has been great. It's been really good to kind of focus on hemp fiber, the opportunities, the challenges, the issues. And I think we're all really coming together to talk about those things.
Yeah, it seems sort of laser focused in a way that no hemp event that I've attended has been laser focused. So that's cool. And I think the credit there goes to NC State for their ability to keep things moving, and also Guy Carpenter. Was there anything that you heard today or over the past couple of days that, interested you in a big way?
Yeah, for sure. I think it's great to hear people talk about more finished goods. In the past, we've been just really focused on, hey, we got to do the farming. We've got to do the primary processing, the decortication. We got to generate fiber and herd. And I think we kind of had that build it and they will come mentality. And now that's happening. That's working a bit, but not enough. And I think we need to start focusing on, converted products, finished goods, more valuable products, more vertical integration to help pull these products, through the market. And then once that takes on, then the rest of the industries will begin to buy hemp, for themselves.
Right. It's like you need to see the finished products. It sort of gives the farmers and the processors sort of like faith in the end game.
Well, and the consumer and the big brands and big corporations, right? So we can demonstrate at smaller commercial scale what is possible such that they will hopefully come in and do what we all want them to do, which is adopt hemp in a major, meaningful way.
Have you seen like a larger presence of big brands here?
I have not.
No, the same amount of big brands?
I don't know if I've seen a single big brand.
Any big brands?
I think there's some on the docket today, Carhartt and Elaine Fisher. So I'm looking forward to hearing about them.
Okay, good. Thoughts on green decortication? Does that scare you as a decorticator with a multi-million-dollar processing center?
No, it doesn't. It doesn't scare me. It's an intriguing idea. On-farm decortication has been around as a discussion and trials for a long time, and I think there's merits to sort of all different types of doing the processing, and I'm hopeful they'll find a solution. I mean, personally, I think the biggest challenge is going to be with the herd, and how do you collect and dry and package that? That seems like a lot of material to deal with. So I don't know. I'm interested to see how it goes.
Yeah. So what's happening up at I&D Hemp? Give me some news from Montana. What's happening up there? What else are you guys working on?
It's a lot of the same old. We're working with farmers, growing hemp fiber and growing hemp grain. We're starting to lean back into hemp food. We are sort of relaunching our hemp hearts line. On the fiber side, we've been knee deep in nonwovens for the last couple of years as a focus area, and we continue to advance that. We've been a lot more focused on our premium fibers, our scoured fibers, or degummed. Firstly, for spun lace applications like wipes and those kinds of things, and then secondly, for yarns and garments.
Trey, Riddle, great to talk to you. Thanks for everything that you do.
What's up?
Well, you guys look like you're about to hit the road.
Yes.
We got Steve Groff, Larry Serban, and Ding.
Yes.
You're going to travel in the same car together?
Yes.
Yeah, and I expect it to be very interesting.
Yeah, why is that? Conversation or music?
Both.
I hope both.
So do you have a playlist picked out, Steve?
I do not. We'll wing it.
Okay. Larry, are there...
I have a playlist, but I know Ding likes music from the 40s. So.
All right, well, you're going up to Cedar Meadow Farm. You've been there before, right?
Twice.
All right.
Yeah.
Yep, third time.
Okay, cool. Well, good luck. We'll see you on the other side.
Eric.
Yeah, travel safe.
All right. Thank you, Eric.
All right, there you go. That was side 4 of the Global Hemp Fiber Summit box set. Thanks for listening. Tune in next week for sides 5 and 6, and the conversation continues. It was a special event that happened down there in Raleigh at the Wilson College of Textiles at NC State, hosted by the National Industrial Hemp Council of America. Check them out at NIHCOA.com. My name is Eric Herlock. I'm the senior digital editor here at Lancaster Farming Newspaper, the greatest agricultural newspaper in the world. Check us out online, lancasterfarming.com. All right, I got to go. I got to get out of here. We got a lot to do. There's a lot happening here at Lancaster Farming. I appreciate you listening to us. If you like what you hear, please share it. Please send us a review. Please send us an email, podcast@lancasterfarming.com. Love to hear from you. All right, until next time, see you in the newspaper. This episode of the Lancaster Farming Industrial Hemp Podcast is copyright 2025 by Lancaster Farming Newspaper, part of the Steinman Communications family. Today's show was written and recorded by Eric Herlock and engineered, mixed, and produced and all that by Justin Berger.